you should now see the D3M website. Specifically on this screen, you'll see that this is d3mnetworks.com/Airsys. And on this page, this is specifically for Airsys dealers, anybody affiliated with Airsys. You can click here to get started. I'll be talking a bit about how you get started, but basically there's a 14-day free trial that we encourage you to go ahead, jump right into. If you do it from this page, from the Airsys page, again, that was d3mnetworks.com/Airsys, this will give you the Airsys icon library. So I'll talk a bit more about icon libraries in a minute, but that's what you'll get by clicking here. Also, just wanted to share with you on this page, you'll see Tom Grady with Airsys, what he wrote here. What used to take us 3 days now takes us 30 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the complexity with D3M. All of the projects that I've done using the tool, I find them a whole lot less stressful. All the right things are there. Everybody is clear on what they need to do, and there is no ambiguity about picking up the wrong things. The tool has paid for itself many, many, many times over. So D3M, you'll see it gets everybody working on a project in sync. Everybody's on the same page. Basically, it reduces any kind of errors because it's this central hub for your project. I'm just going to quickly give you an overview here of D3M. So yeah, we're doing this webinar today for Airsys specifically. And just to give you this overview, D3M, D stands for design, document, deliver, and the M stands for manage. The idea here is that you can do everything related to your project, anything that requires a simple drawing or a big complex system diagram. Either way, everything related to your project can happen in D3M. Everything from pre-sales to post-sales support. The company here, Telbio, who developed D3M, we understand. We've been working in this industry a long time. We understand, network deployments. There are many iterations. It's a cycle like this that you can see on my screen, hopefully. Everything, like I said, from pre-sales to that post-sales support and everything in between. D3M fits into the process in many ways like this. You'll see that the tool breaks into a few different sections. There are the diagrams, the topology and rack diagrams. There's a quote tool, which is pretty amazing. It automatically creates a quote from your diagrams. Then you have automated, again, all this stuff is automatically generated from your drag and drop diagram. There's project inventory, the tables of all your inventory, and documents like a sales proposal and stuff. All of this can be automatically generated from these icons, these devices you drag and drop on the screen. So what we'll do is we'll jump into a demo. Just a heads up that at the end here, I will give you, if you go ahead and sign up for a free trial this week, we're sending you a 20% coupon code on a subscription if you're considering a subscription. So just a heads up there. I'll give that to you at the end. So we'll jump right into it here. So again, that was remember d3mnetworks.com/Airsys is where you want to go to get started. And I'm just going to click the logo here to go back to our home page. So here's our homepage and how I get started. You can click that free trial, or like I said, the other page is better for you guys specifically. But I'm already subscribed to D3M. I'm going to click the login here. And because I already entered my email and password, so I go straight into D3M. So remember, D3M is it's a web app, something like Google Apps. It requires no download of software. It's here, it's hosted on the cloud, and you just sign in and there you go, get started. The first thing you see when you enter D3M is the projects page, and this is where all your projects are listed, everything that you've worked on. projects that you own or projects that have been shared with you. Everything is listed here. The most recent stuff you've worked on is listed first. So that's there. You can easily filter through this stuff in many different ways. You can sort through it. You can search. You can even search as granularly as searching for a specific device or serial number, that kind of thing. So it's really easy. Imagine you have 1,000 different projects in here. It's really easy to find exactly what it is you're looking for. You can even do things like you have some actions here. You could duplicate a project and that kind of thing. Imagine you're working on a project that is very similar to something you previously worked on. Great, just make a copy of it here, get started. I'm going to show you how to start a project from scratch. There's this big orange button here. I'll just click on that. And you'll see this form to fill out here. Just keep in mind that when doing your free trial, for example, when you start a project, it's as simple as you really only need to enter 2 details, the customer name and the project name. So I'm just going to go with this, these sample names here. Let's pretend we're doing something for the Four Seasons Hotel, and I choose to call the project Initial System Design. You can fill these fields in however you want, and then the rest of them, you might as well fill them out, like a status, for example. Let's say we're in the pre-sale status of this project. We're working from our Ottawa, Canada office. Okay, network mode of IP Site Connect. Let's say this will be deployed in Toronto, the system that I'm working on, and we'll get this done by the end of this month. Maybe a bit ambitious, but there you have it. And then I go ahead and I click the Start button. And I'm just going to check quickly, guys, here. I think we might have a message from somebody. Okay, so far so good. Okay. So what happens when you enter any D3M project, whether you just created it now or this is an existing project, what you see is the topology screen. So this big white canvas, in fact, this is an infinite white space where you can create a system of any size. And to the left is where you'll find things like here we have an Airsys library of icons. Or we have our D3M library with generic icons. We also have, I'll just click right here, you can see other things I have, like a Motorola library, many two-way radio brands. We have complete libraries listed. So the things that you sell are probably already preloaded here in D3M. So that makes things really easy for you. But I'm just going to focus on these icons for a moment here so you understand how we start building something. Like I said, the icons are here. You have them in these libraries that we've created for you. But of course, there's an option down here. You see it says New Icon. You're free to create anything you want. And it's very easy to do. If I were to click this, the New Icon button, you'll see it's a 3-step process. I simply select an image. So we give you hundreds of them, these vector images to choose from, or upload your own image. So whatever it is you want it to look like, just go ahead and select an image. I'll select that fire there for now. And then the second step and third step are simply configuring the thing. Basically, I can put ports on this. So if I wanted to, I can change the size of it a bit, the dimensions like I just did there. I can click on any of these blocks, and let's say there's an IP port that I'm going to call LAN on this device. Okay, great. That's that. And then the third step is to put things like properties. The manufacturer of this device is Motorola, let's say. You can put any number of properties on here. Properties, quote part, we'll talk about that, how you can put pricing on something, and then we'll see how this stuff, these icons, it then automatically creates things like your quote. Simply by dragging and dropping this to the white space, the canvas there, your quote and other things are automatically generated from this. So my point being that you can easily create anything you want from scratch, but we do, like I say, offer you a lot of stuff out of the box where you can just get started with any of these brands and devices. Let's say, for example, the Airsys library. You can pick and choose from these radios and so on, other things. One other thing I'll say about libraries and about icons is that this first tab here, you have the organization libraries. So these are libraries that we maintain for you, that if you are a group of people, let's say 2, 3 people, 5 people, whatever number of people at your organization using D3M, you share all the icons under this first tab. Okay, this is where shared icons live. Under the second tab, this is where icons that maybe you created yourself, maybe you modified an icon, which I can easily do by clicking on an icon, and then down here we have some options where I can modify something, save a copy of that modified version of it. All that stuff would live under this second tab. So this is icons that belong just to you. So that's just to give you a bit of an overview of what we're working with over here. So point is, there are all these icons to work with, and you can easily create new stuff if need be. So without further ado, I'll show you how I start simply dragging, dropping some things out here, and how really the rest of the stuff here in the main navigation, you can see rack diagram, inventory, quote, document over here. All of this stuff will be automatically generated from this dragging and dropping. So I'm going to go with just a simple system here. I'm not an engineer, but I'll show you something just for demo purposes. Here's a switch. I can drag that out, and there it is on the canvas. Simply grab some other things like this, a Motorola repeater, for example, duplexer. So really, I've seen D3M used for many different things. It was we first built it with the two-way radio market in mind, but it's been used on all kinds of different communications systems, and I've seen people get creative with it. Utility tower management and all kinds of different things. Whatever you want to build here can be built. So I just dragged a few things out. A couple basics to understand here. The dragging and dropping is obviously very straightforward. You have some view options here in the top right corner, and one of them is ports. So by clicking on ports, I can now see the ports that exist on these devices. And by seeing them, this is how I can make connections. So if I click on an IP port on this switch, drag it over here, it connects to the LAN port there. By the way, there's some basic engineering rules built in, so it automatically snapped to the right port, just to save you from accidentally connecting to a port that doesn't make sense to connect to. And then I can go ahead and continue doing that. So TX here to TX and RX to RX, simple as that. Antenna to antenna, like that. If I were to do, just to show you, give you a visual, this radio port to a slot over here, notice that the different types of connections are styled differently. This one being the dashed line, that's a wireless connection. So some basic things there just to make things easy for you to visualize what's what, and I guess more importantly for your customer to see things in a clear way. So the diagramming part is easy, and what happens now is what's powerful about it really is that there are, like I showed you, properties when you create an icon from scratch, all these properties and things that you can save to these devices. You can save properties to connections as well. If you double click on anything, I double click on this radio, to the right side you see all these properties show up, and quote parts. Like I say, you can put quote parts on things. If I were to double click a connection, you'll see the same thing, properties, quote part, styling options and stuff like that. So just double click on something in order to kind of dig into it. This radio here, I'll show you how I can make some edits to it. I said we were doing this for the Four Seasons Hotel, for example. So I might want to change the title of this to something that makes sense, like housekeeping. Okay, so this is a housekeeping radio. I can change the quantity. It doesn't have to be just one radio. Let's say it's a group of 20 radios. You can see this information is showing up. And again, this is a web app. It's automatically saving. You don't have to worry about saving your work. It automatically saves. And more importantly, it automatically syncs all the different parts of D3M. You'll see how this same data that I'm manipulating now is reflected throughout the whole application. So we'll jump from section to section in just a minute there. So we have 20 housekeeping radios here. You might want to, in your diagram on the canvas here, show some other information like the manufacturer. Okay, the manufacturer is Motorola. That's now showing there. The radio model, since we changed the title, might as well show that radio model here. Another thing you could show, radio ID. That's going to be 20 unique values, right? And currently it's blank. So this is when we're going to start looking at how things reflect elsewhere in the app. So far so good. Very easy to create this, right? Let's have a look to see what these 20 radios look like elsewhere. If I jump over to the inventory here, you'll see that what happens is we have these tables. All our devices, all our connections are here in a tabular view, and that includes these 20 radios. So 20 radios actually exist here in a table. The radio ID there, I can, just like an Excel sheet or a Google sheet, just input like this. You can easily copy and paste information. You can scan serial numbers and things in. Any way of inputting this information, you can go ahead and do that. And similar to other things like I just mentioned, Excel and so on, I can drag the bottom corner here to create a sequence. So that's 101, 102, 103. I can even, better than that, I can double click the bottom corner and send that sequence to the bottom. So 101 all the way down to 120. Okay, great. Now, to show you again, look at the top middle here. It says status saved. Let's just jump over to topology again, and there's that information showing right away. So the radio IDs for this radio group is a sequence of 101 to 120. Everything is a reflection of the same data. And to further illustrate that point, so we have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 devices I dragged out to the canvas. If I go to the rack diagram view here, notice that a third tab lights up in this left side icons panel, showing you 5 devices. This is called the sync tool. It's letting you know that there are 5 devices you used in your other diagram view that you haven't yet used here. So D3M is letting you know you should do something with these devices. This is the rack view. This is to see how the devices will be physically mounted in a rack. You see the turquoise bubble here saying to click add rack to put a rack on this diagram page. So I'll do that, click, and there is a rack. There's another little bit of text here saying that you can put shelves, reserved space, shelving, stuff like that in here. So there's that. And then there is also, you simply drag and drop these devices into the rack is the way that this works. By the way, I was able to easily adjust the height of my rack. It happens to come out at 42U, which I believe is pretty standard, but I can easily drag and adjust the height. I can drag and adjust the height of the devices themselves, move them around very easily, and it's as simple as that. You just drag and drop things. Some stuff like maybe this radio, for example, is not going to be put in the rack. In order to keep things in sync and make sure that, just to account for things, there is this radio here. At the bottom, I have this option, ignore this icon. And it gets moved down here to this list of ignored icons. So I'm not going to put that in a rack. I'm just ignoring it. Maybe the antenna, I'll do the same thing. Just ignore that. And now this sync tool is no longer highlighted, and things are making sense here. You can add as many racks here as you want. You're free to do whatever you want. You can also double click the rack itself, and you can put properties on the rack. You can put quote parts on the rack and so on. So you're free to do whatever you want, and you can see how easily things are kind of coming together here. I'm just going to check in with you guys here. Let's see, chat. No questions yet coming through in the chat. Just a reminder, click that chat in the Zoom window, and you can write me any questions there. Okay, so that's that. Let's focus a little bit more on diagramming. I just want to show you a few more things you can do to keep yourself organized. So imagine this thing starts to get a bit bigger. Again, it's an infinite space. I can zoom out forever. In order to keep this more organized, I'm going to do a couple things. One is, imagine this this system here is something that this configuration is kind of a go-to starting point for you and your team. Imagine your engineering first configures this, and they want to set your sales team up for success, basically by saving this, saying, look, this is a good starting point. You can easily do that. Like I just did, I select all of it, right-click, and there's an option here called Save Bundle to my library. Save Bundle to my library. You simply give it a name it whatever you want, and then what you'll see is that it's right here. I have these bundles. So not only can you save any device to your library like this, you can save a whole bundle of stuff. So here, for example, I have one called 2 repeater bundle with pricing. Drag that out like this. And just as if I made it a second ago, as if I dragged and dropped each of these elements out, everything is totally editable. I can delete parts, like these radios, for example. Let's say I right-click, delete. You can do anything you want. You can double-click, edit this stuff, edit the properties, the quantity, whatever you want, and that's it. So these bundles are big time savers. Like I said, you created them once, you save them, and now your whole team. By the way, if you have something in your library like this and you want to save it, you want to share it with your team, there's always the option. You're like, okay, this bundle is really useful. I want to share it with my team. There's an option down here called promote. And the promote option means that you want to send it over a copy of it to, like I explained earlier, the shared organization library. So that's one thing there. And by the way, guys, any of the technical details here, if you're using D3M and you need help, you're not sure exactly how to do something, just click this chat bubble in the bottom right corner. We have help articles. You can start a conversation with us. You can book another training webinar, all kinds of things. We have these monthly public webinars that people like to join. So lots of information there, and bottom line is we're here to help you use the tool. So we have we have 2 simple configurations here. Let's say that this is site 1 and site 2. In order to stay organized and to navigate, we have some simple tools up here. There's an option, an image tool, text tool, so you can add images and text to the canvas here whenever you want. And then there's this areas tool. The areas tool, I just clicked on it once there, basically just allows you to put a border around something. So the dotted line, and you can name it whatever you want. So I'm going to call this one Site 1. So obviously doing that just visually helps you stay organized, but there's more to it than that. So I'll call this one Site 2. Notice what's happening is my, by the way, I've been zooming in and out with the wheel on my mouse, but you can zoom out, zoom in with these tools over here. You can fit the project to your screen. And now with these areas, you can fit area 1. You can fit site 1 to the screen, fit site 2 to the screen, that kind of thing. Also, if I were to go back to my inventory, you have some filtering options here. I can filter my inventory by, sorry, the zoom tool is getting in the way of my screen here. But site 1, site 2, you can zoom, sorry, you can filter in that way. So pretty useful putting that, especially if you have these multi-site systems, to use the areas tool. So I would say that gives you, the information I just shared there gives you pretty much everything you need to know to get using the diagram. And like we started doing here, looking at the inventory, looking at the rack diagram, we've started to see how this information is automatically generating other things. So let's continue to look at that. So we know about rack diagrams, we know about inventory tables. Quote would be another interesting one to look at. First of all, when you to really use the quote tool, what you'll want to do is upload all your quote parts, all your pricing. That might be from your manufacturer, whatever pricing you have. It might come from multiple sources. You just want to put that into a simple Excel sheet, basically a CSV file, and upload it to D3M. Again, this chat bubble here, just search the word quote if you're ever looking to do this, and you will see that we have some help articles. Quote faster, intro to quotes. We have help articles showing you exactly how to do that. It takes just a few minutes to upload your pricing to D3M, and then what you can do is, if I double click on this repeater, scroll down below the properties, I see, oh, I have a $3,000 repeater price on this repeater. I went ahead and I saved it there. It's really pretty amazing when you get using this thing. So just your price is just basically another property, and you apply them to devices, apply prices to connections, and so on, and then this is what happens. I have a quick look here. I have a quote view on my diagram, quote view, and I can quickly see which of these devices have quote parts on them. So the ones that are highlighted in green and have a dollar sign on them, okay? So it looks to me like the only thing that doesn't have a quote is this one switch. And maybe this switch doesn't need to have a quote part on it. Let's assume so. So that's fine. Now, so everything I need to be quoted is quoted. Let's have a look at the actual quote. I go to the quote, and again, this was automatically generated from my diagram. So you can easily move things around, edit the quantity, edit the, sorry, not the quantity, but edit the price. You can put a discount on this. And to the right side here, we have, this is really handy for really anyone on your team, your salesperson, whoever's looking at this. You can see the margin, because when you upload your quote pricing, you can upload your cost as well. And yeah, and now it gives me here, okay, it's telling me that I'm getting a 55.6% margin on this one, this switch, for example. And this is calculated on the fly. If I were to put a discount on this, let's say a discount of any amount, really, $50, let's say. Now look, my margin is 44.4%. So that's being calculated for you, very helpful. And then at the very bottom here, it gives you a total margin on the whole deal. You can easily put a discount on everything, tax, shipping and handling. You can add line items. You can create subsections easily. So these are your products. Maybe you want to have a service here offered, maybe a support package. There you go, there's one. Okay, and then now you can see things were changing as I entered it. So it's pretty amazing that it saves you the time it takes to assemble a quote. Your diagram in D3M here did that for you. Last thing I'll say about the quote is that what you'll probably want to do with it, I'll show you how a document is automatically created too. So maybe a sales proposal document. You'll probably include your quote there, but if you want to send this over to your accounting system, maybe QuickBooks or whatever you're using, there's an export CSV of this quote here. So you just export it and send it over to your accounting system. So that's that about the quote. And then, yeah, the documents we'll have a quick look at. First, I want to tell you there's a files section here. This is very straightforward. It's simply where you can put any files related to this project. Like I said before, D3M should be this central hub that you use on your projects, where you and your colleagues go to basically find anything related to this project. And so you might put things like spec sheets, code plug files, things like this here, images, whatever you want to put. You have unlimited space with your D3M subscription, and yeah, you put your files there. And by the way, I keep talking about working with your colleagues. There's this collaborate button. You simply click that. If you're working on a project and you need to invite your salesperson, your engineer, whoever it is, you just click email address here, enter. Automatically, you'll see the people who are part of your team listed here. But really, you can invite any D3M user to collaborate on this project, and you give them permission to view, to edit, whatever you want. Click the share button, and now they are part of this project. And you'll see this eyeball here light up in orange if somebody is looking at the project at the same time that you are. And then, yeah, it's pretty amazing. You can see, like in the topology view, for example, you would see them dragging and dropping things. There's an activity log here. You can see who did what and when. So it's the collaboration aspect of D3M is a big selling point. And again, it's what keeps your whole team on the same page. And then you'll see how you can send a document to your customer, and they're always going to be on the same page. They're always going to see the updated information. So it's a great way to keep everybody in sync. So yeah, files, collaboration, we talked about that. Let's have a quick look at documents. So this is the last bit. This is where everything kind of comes together. I can create a new document, and here I might have templates. We give you a few templates to work with, but you can create your own templates. And I'm going to go with a sales proposal here. This is my go-to template. Create that, and you'll see that basically I don't have to do anything really, because the template was built, just the one time, and it's very easy to create these documents, these templates. You just drag and drop stuff from the left side here. So imagine I can insert a page easily. Imagine I wanted to put a topology on this page, drag, drop, there's my topology. I'll just delete that page for now. But so this is my template. I have a cover page this is just the default styling of it, that I have a logo. My logo shows up in the top left, my company information there. The name of this project, remember I called it initial system design. I can change this stuff very easily, by the way. There's this gear icon here. I could call this, maybe it's final system design. Maybe it's the Delta Hotel. I can easily change this stuff, and then it will automatically show there and elsewhere. So this is the cover page, a standard proprietary statement that we include in our proposal, a letter to the customer. Remember, I just changed this, final system design, Delta Hotel. If I click just once in this letter, I see that we have a basic text editor, and there are these placeholder tags. So that's the project name always shows up there. The customer name always shows up there. So again, I haven't had to do anything. It just, the template creates this consistent professional document that I send to prospects and customers. And yeah, and then we have the topology always up to date here. The rack diagram always showing the live data. You have different inventory options. You can show any. Remember that site 1, site 2 filter, because we put these sites together. I can pin, by the way, there's a pin to site 1, pin to site 2, that kind of thing. It's very easy to work with. And then we have a customer-friendly, sales-friendly version of the quote here, and a page where they sign off. So the document, like I say, automatically assembled itself, and I can click this export share button if I want to either save a PDF of this, or better than that, I can save them this sharing link So I can send this to my customer, not to a D3M user, but to anyone. I'll just show you what it looks like. So this is what the customer would see if you send them this link. This is called the working document. It means it's always up to date. So any edit, if you send this to your customer and then a minute later you make an edit, they're going to see that edit. So it's always up to date, and that's the document they're looking at. They can save a PDF of it if they want. They can even they can really zoom in to your diagram. They can see this level of detail. It's never blurry, these vector graphics. So sending them the share link like that is pretty cool. And that basically wraps it up.